Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Bradford.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha. Hello everybody, welcome to season 2. We're still in celebration of Your Unpaid Therapist, and today we have a super special guest I'm so excited to talk about. It's a topic I'm so excited to talk about because I feel like everybody can relate. But first, I would like to introduce the amazing and fabulous co-host that I have, Miss Valerie Ortiz. Hi.
Hi. Hola, hola, hola.
And then
I'm
sitting
excited
next to
about
her-
today's guest too. Yes, give the intro.
Okay. So today's guest is amazing and talented and wonderful and really kind in person and a true inspiration. You might recognize her face as Keta Rush from the show Wow Women of Wrestling, but today she's here to tell us all about her and her journey to greatness. So, hi Keta.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so honored to be here and just thank you guys. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes,
course.
welcome. And of course, before we get into the nitty gritty, we have to get a little silly with it. So I
Okay.
hope you're ready for that.
All right, let's go.
So season 1, we did this never have I ever. Season 2, I had this idea that I love music. Music is so relatable, universal, and I was like, why don't we sing a ditty? I mean, or hum it or whatever. Ali Kona heard sing and she stuck with it. Of like a song that's like inspiring us that week or something that like didn't get out of our head. Really anything. So we're gonna do that. I want Ali Kona to start because I know what her song is, and it's a good one.
Okay. So I'll sing my song and then I'll tell you why I picked it. Keta, be prepared because I'm a really
Okay,
amazing
I'm ready.
singer. Hold on.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
not singers. It's not why we chose to do this.
Okay,
but-
good, because I'm not. We're going to make it work, though.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are you guys ready?
Right.
I've got my special dress on. Okay. Upside, inside out. She's living la vida loca. She will wear you out. And her skin's a cut. Well, I'm not mocha, but I'm living la vida loca. So that's my song.
Yeah. Good one.
Oh. So I picked that song because this weekend was super crazy nuts. There was a shutdown of literally all the airplanes in the world shut down because Microsoft had a oopsie. So there was a lot of craziness happening at the airport. But once I finally got to my destination later on, I got to go to Niagara Falls. It was amazing. I love adventure and I was living my best life. So that's why I picked that song.
And she got to her destination because then she ended up having to drive, like get her in a car and drive to even get there. So I mean, It was a whole lot of crazy, whole lot of loca.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, it was. Way off.
Insane.
Okay. Valerie, I'm going to have you go next.
Okay, so this is kind of an oldie but a goodie, and I can't sing as high as she does, so I'm gonna keep it a little low. Okay. Everybody gets high, everybody gets low. These are the days where anything goes. Every day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer. Every day is a faded sign. I get a little bit closer, feeling fine. And that's my song, Every Day is a Winding Road by Sheryl Crow.
I like it.
The inspiration to that song is I'm about to do a road trip next week, and I'm super excited, but also like leading up to it as of today and the next days that come. I just every day's so different. Like there's so much to do, so many highs, so many lows, people coming, people going, like things are changing. And so I've been feeling like some days I wake up and like everything's great and I'm like super excited. And then other days I wake up and I'm super overwhelmed and like, I'm like,
I feel you on that.
things a little different today. So every day is a winding road.
is.
I'm like, what is today? Today's a
All
high.
right.
Today's a high. What
Good.
about you?
My turn?
Yeah.
Woo! All right. We're gonna have to keep it gangster a little bit over here.
I like it.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kind of odd. No barking from the dogs, no smog. Mama cooking breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, but didn't dig out. Finally got a call from a girl I want to dig out. Whoop. Hooked it
Hey.
up for later as I hit the dough. That's my song. And
Yes.
it's
Why?
because every day is a good day, yet every day you're dealt some cards that you got to play your hand with. Some days you get good hands, some days you
Mhm.
don't. But either way, it's a good day, and we got to thank God for it and just process it. So, me and Ice Cube, we go together.
Yeah.
I love
By
it.
the way, you guys and Valerie, I kind of accidentally forgot to tell Keta about this proportion of the podcast till last night. So when I told her, she was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Oh,
I'm like, "My bad."
he's like, "Oh, you set me up."
That was the
Right?
That was a
big
whole
setup.
setup. Oh my gosh. Well, we appreciate you committing as much as you did. That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love it.
Okay, so today, the reason I invited Keta on, I'll have you, I don't want to tell your story for you, but today's topic, we are talking about bullying, about being on the receiving end, about maybe having a child who, like, how to deal with, how to process the aftermath, like all the things. So, Keta, can you tell us just like a little bit or a lot
Yeah.
of bit about your story?
So I am half black and half Guatemalan. I grew up here in the San Fernando Valley, and that was fine up until it wasn't. And then I was faced with a group of girls my freshman year in high school that did not like that I was light skinned and had different textured hair. So they made my life miserable, and then they beat the shit out of me. At the end of the year, they broke my jaw, my shoulder blade, my ribs. My pancreas and liver didn't work properly for 15 years. I was on enzymes forever. And it destroyed me. It destroyed my spirit, my mind, my physically. I was destroyed, and it was a long journey getting on the other side of it. And then since then, I've done so much with my life and with that story. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell of like what happened.
Right.
I
Which
have
is
so many questions,
yeah.
even just about that
I know.
in
You're like,
general. Well, like that was because that is a lot and that's traumatic. And I don't want you to like have to relive any of it by any means, but I'd be curious to know as far as like who was there to stop it? Was somebody there to stop it? Like how does this even happen?
Yeah,
And
so what happened was the bullying was happening throughout the year. First, it started with name calling, then pushing, then shoulder checking, then like yanks, and it just became really, really bad. But my home life, my parents had just got a divorce, and my mom had just gotten in a horrible, tragic car accident where she was in a coma for 39 days. So
wow.
when my freshman year started, I felt I didn't have anyone to talk to or tell what was going on. And then my report card came, and my grades had dropped so significantly that my parents were like, "What's going on?" And so then that's when the whistle blew, and I told them what was going on. So they came to the school to speak to the principal. And when those girls saw my parents, the next day was the day that they were like, "Oh, you brought your mom and dad, blah blah blah, da da da." They did it right after the lunch bell rang, like to go to the next period. So I thought I was being smart by being at my locker right when the bell rang, so I can get my stuff out and go to my next class. And they followed me right in. So before the hallway filled up with a bunch of kids, which takes a couple minutes, then they did that. And so when kids started coming, then obviously there was screaming and whatever, and I think a teacher stopped it maybe 5 minutes later, but it was a lot of minutes going on there.
Yeah. Oh my God. That
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure felt like
crazy.
forever.
It did. It did.
Wow. How many girls was it?
8.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
So glad there was no
so,
social media back then, because can you imagine being a kid today with
Right.
that? Oh my God, hell no.
well, what's crazy is like I guess because we're all somewhere in the similar age range. So it's like you hear about people getting beat up, but now,
Right.
like with social media, it's like, I don't know if it's popular, quote unquote, anymore, but I know in the past, it's like girls would film themselves beating one girl up. And I'm like, but like, where is your mind at? Like, what happened at home that made you have that much
Something bad.
aggression that you needed to
Something
take it
really
out on
bad.
another human?
Something very bad, for sure.
Yeah, I have a little statistic saying during 2019 and 2020 school year, around 2 in 10 U.S. middle and high school students said they were bullied at school. That year, 22% of the students ages 12 to 18 said the bullying occurred for 1 day only. And for between 3 and 10 days, that was about 32% of the kids reported that. And that's bullying in general. But I mean, I was reading an article about just like what we were just saying about cyberbullying. That not only because it's like back in the day when we went to school, it's like we got to, no, we didn't get to get made, but people made fun of you, whatever. Then you get to go home and just let it rest. Some of
Exactly.
us, right? But
Yeah.
now it's just like these.
Reliving
Oh
so much.
yeah. What do they call
Perpetuated.
those people? That like are behind the phones and stuff and just tweeting or texting or commenting all the bad things.
Trolls? Yeah, troll.
Yeah, trolls. Um
Weak ass motherfuckers. I'm just kidding.
right.
Asshole.
Right. Yeah, it's just wild. So I can't imagine, which is why I'm so happy about what unfortunately this tragic and traumatic situation that happened to you, what you've turned it into, because it is so necessary now more than ever. So what was that transition for you, and when did you get? We haven't said what it is, but
Yeah.
I want to know, like, obviously you had this experience, and when did you say, you know what, things are going to change, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be the person to
Well,
make it
what's
happen.
interesting is I feel like once the bullying happened, that kind of like set the tone for my life, and I hit a horrible depression. I was suicidal. I hated
Mm,
myself. I hated life. I hated everything underneath the stars. And I was mad and bitter and just didn't understand. I was angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at everything. And that lasted for a very long time. And then I realized also that there were some habits slash things that I adapted to or became accustomed to, like getting shitted on, getting like
mm,
spoken bad to, like. So I remember looking up, and I was in an abusive relationship, and I was one of those girls that was like, if you're in an abusive relationship, block your number, hang up, like don't talk to him. Like it didn't make sense to me. And then I was in one, and I was like,
mm,
oh my God, I'm in another word getting bullied again
mm,
in my own life. Like, so there's a habit here that I'm not standing up for myself. I'm not advocating for myself. And when that happened, I was like, I got to pull the trigger. I got a life coach. I went to therapy. I found Jesus. I got back with God. I did all of the things. I did all of the work because I knew it was so important to overcome this. And I really wanted to be victorious over this situation and not the victim. And I
mm.
did, and it worked. And putting in all that work full circle has given me the life that I have now, and I'm so grateful for even that horrendous situation that did happen, because honestly it gave me and who I am
Right.
today.
And if anybody's listening and they could relate, and they are the girl in that relationship, or they are, the young kid at school getting bullied, what was it, or how did you work yourself out of that to say, let me seek a life coach? Like, did somebody, like do that, and you had that
Yeah,
connection,
actually
or?
I was in a very, very dark place, and I was very suicidal, and my phone rang, and it was a friend of mine who was like, I just had a feeling like I needed to just say this to you,
Mm,
like you just need to get with God. And I was like, I don't even know what that means
wow.
right now. Like, I have been in my dog's bed for 3 days, and I haven't left, and I don't care about anything. I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't even know how to get with God. And
Right.
she sent me a video from Joel Osteen, and I was like, what is this, whatever, and I just pushed
Right.
play. And then the next
Hmm.
one came on, and then the next one came on. And I was in my dog's bed for another 12 hours watching. And my spirit was just getting filled and filled and filled with
Wow.
the word. And I was like, okay, all right. So that was
That.
that was getting up. That was what got me up. And then I was like, I need to put in some work. I need help. I don't know what to do. So I need a coach. I do know that. I've been an athlete my whole life, and I've always had someone coaching me. So now that I'm in life, I need help
Okay.
with my life. So I had a friend who was a life coach. So I hit
Mm,
her up, and I was like, can you connect me with her? And I did the work. I didn't go on a date. I didn't go on a walk. I didn't do a tea, not a nothing for 365 days. I was like, I need to get with Keta and with God and get your mind right, get your life right, fix it. You know what you want your life to look like, so do it. And I did.
But what was the work? Like, what does that look like when you're like, I had to do the work for somebody who?
So like for instance, my life coaching was a 3-month intensive, and we got so deep to the darkest parts of my life, of things that I like about myself, that I don't like about my family, first memories, going through all of it, looking at all the wiring of like why I am the way I am today and what don't I like about myself, and how to rewire it to something that is more beneficial and positive for who I want to be. And that's pretty much doing the work and being consistent and going to church, doing the meditations, talking to myself, self-love, depositing into myself. It was a lot, and it was so worth it.
I love that you said life coach, because we don't hear that often. I think right now, it's like I saw a therapist and I go to therapy, but I was actually talking to a friend because she doesn't have health insurance,
Okay.
and she was looking for a therapist but can't afford
Yeah.
it. It's
Sure.
crazy bananas out there, and somebody recommended her a life coach. And she's been seeing this lady, and it's been helping her in different ways as well. And I was like, I think that's fascinating, because there are other avenues. There's other people that, and even like, if you are religious, going to, your church, and then finding like a pastor, or, somebody who holds like teen mass or
I was
something,
like,
if
I
you're
need
a young
all of
person.
them.
Right. There's so many different people that can help if you can't do something like therapy, or even if you can't find a life coach near you. Is there somebody who's been through something that you've been through that you can speak to? That part I feel like would be the hardest. Luckily you had somebody give you that literal call,
Yeah.
and kind of get you out of that.
Yeah.
But I can imagine somebody listening, who doesn't have that friend, who doesn't
Right.
have that connection to.
But I will say this too. I feel like at the place that I was in my life, as much as I was so down and at the bottom, and definitely was at rock bottom, I was also very open. And I remember crying to God and being like, Lord, if you can help me get out of this situation, I promise you, I will make you proud. And I think that's why my phone rang. Because I wasn't just like, like I'm gonna die. Like I've been there 1,000 times, but this wasn't one of those moments. This was a moment where I was like, something's gotta give. Like it was that little ounce of faith that I still had, that I think
Keta, the mic. Bring the mic closer
Oh,
to your mouth.
that I think brought that to me. And I
Yeah.
feel like for anyone listening, I feel like if you open yourself up to the universe, to whatever, you'll get an answer, but you've got to want the answer. And I know I wanted it.
And
That
now
was a big difference.
share with our
Yeah.
listeners your give back. Like what did you, I guess.
Well, hold on. Backtrack, because I
No,
want to
no.
talk about. So you got your mental, spiritual, emotional parts right, but then you turned around and you're like, okay, so now physically, I want to be able to defend myself in case somebody else this ever occurs again. So how do I
Sure.
protect myself? And then you got into jujitsu. So let's
How did
talk a
that
little bit
happen?
about that
Yeah.
also.
So that happened because I found acting. Acting was after getting beat up and bullied and like hating Keta. I was like, I rather play anyone else than be myself. That is why I became an actress, loved it, and was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that was everything. And it really, really was a beautiful gift. And when I got that gift and that skill and the talent that comes with being an actress, I was really good at it and I loved it. And then I looked up and got a role to, play a pregnant crackhead who was homeless. And the director was like, but we need to dim your light. You're very bright. You're very shiny. When you talk, it's just bright. So we got to dim it all the way down. We're going to do some character development and get into it. Have you ever been abused, raped, molested, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no, at this point, I wasn't even in the abusive relationship yet, but I told him the bullying story. And he was like, pause, you need to do something with that. Sidetrack from character development, like the fact that happened to you, you need to do something with that. And that was so weird to me. I was like, what are you talking about? What do you do with that? This is the worst fucking story of my life. And he's like, but you need to do something with it. And I didn't know what that meant. And his words just kept playing. And I was like, God, what does that mean? What does that mean? What do I do with this? If there's something I'm supposed to do with it, tell me, please. I want to know. And the question came to me, what would you do to help another little girl who was in your situation right now? What would you do? What do you have? And I was like, man, I would want to advocate for her. I'd call the school. I'd want to tell the parents. I'd want to talk to the other parents. Like, so that's how Team Bully Buster started. And then I was introduced to jujitsu. And I was like, yo, this is a sport that every woman underneath the sun needs to know. And I took those reins and I ran with it. And I just started competing and winning worlds, city, everything. And it was amazing. And I was just like, I have to do this. Like I have to show people that they can protect themselves. They don't have, what happened to me doesn't have to happen to them. They could stand up for themselves in every kind of way. And that's why I started Team Bully Buster in Studio City.
So then now let's talk about Team Bully Busters.
Okay.
It's obviously it's a place located in Studio City, but let's elaborate. Like, what do you teach? Like, what do you teach the girls and boys, whoever?
Sure. So since then, I have become a fighter and competitor in Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, and wrestling. Those are the 4 arts that I think make you well-rounded in being able to protect yourself, whether you're standing or on the ground or on the way down, being attacked from wherever. I feel those 4 arts make you well-rounded. So I really submerged myself into those and then started my own gym where women and children can come learn all of those and learn how to be athletic and learn how to be in their body and be mindful and aware and on point in this world. And everything that I wish I would have known and had going into high school, now I get to give people starting at age 4, and it's pretty cool.
Wow. Age 4 is so young.
Yeah.
Like what is a class for a 4-year-old? Is it could you compare it to like what ballet would be for a 4-year-old? Obviously different art and talent,
it's
but
the
like
same as an adult class. It's pretty awesome. It's like these little kids are learning head movement, footwork, how to use their voice, how to say no loud with power, how to say I need help, how to punch, how to kick, how to duck, how to move, how to understand
love
that
it.
this is what you are in for the rest of your life. Figure it out. Like I meet people that are 40 that I'm like, okay, you're gonna jump over this box, and they're like, what? I'm like,
Yeah. I
you're
mean,
gonna jump over it. Like jumping is just something that no one does anymore. Like the
No,
thought
girl.
of jumping is like, oh God. And I'm like, that's crazy. If someone's chasing you, you need to be able to jump, roll, dive, do all the things. So I just want to be able to make everyone on point.
That's so interesting that you say that. I think that I jump over a box. 40-year-old knees, 50-year-old knees. Like I understand that. I do think that people aren't giving adrenaline enough credit or fear. Because if you're fearing for your life, you're gonna fucking get over the box.
Exactly.
But I love that you would give them that skill and that confidence to
Ahead
just
of time.
tap
That way
into
you're
it,
just
right?
ready. I would love to see a world with way more women, way more prepared, way less
Yes.
victims, way more men getting hurt and getting choked out and getting killed, whatever, because they tried to do something to a girl and she knew what was up and knew how to handle it.
How to protect
That's
yourself.
what I would love to see. Like I know I can't change how people are, men are, and the bad guys in the world, but if I can empower the other people on the other side to put the smack down, then that's what I'm going to do.
So I have like 2 questions that are slightly not related, but before I
Yeah,
forget, I'm like, I'm just gonna spit it out. So
ditto.
one of them would be like, do you know, like, whatever happened to those girls who did beat you up? I mean,
So
like,
after they beat me up, I sued LAUSD, the school district, and then LAUSD did civil lawsuits against those girls, and then those
Mhm.
girls all went to juvenile hall. They all went to,
Good.
kid jail, and then they were all pregnant by like age 16, 17. Yeah,
Mm.
they were all like
wow.
at the deposition, which was maybe a year and a half later, they were all pregnant.
Mm.
So who knows? But they have kids and hopefully they don't get bullied. But if they do, we know why.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, so because then my next question was going to be like to anybody who's listening out there who might be a mom or a dad and they don't
Mhm.
know, they don't realize because kids may not tell their parents. It's like, what do you look for? Like, what signs would you look for to figure out, like, I think something is happening to like little Julie. And how do I
Yeah.
intervene?
Conversations. I think conversing with your children and listening is a big thing. I
Mhm.
think a lot of parents just go, "How was your day today?" And the kid will go, "Fine." That was
Mhm.
unacceptable when I was a kid. Like a one-word answer. My father was a Marine, so like communication and like discipline was a big deal in my family. And you had to I think it's good to encourage children to speak. I think it's
Mhm.
good to ask questions like what was the highlight of your day? What was the worst part? What was the best part? To get their mind triggered to looking for those things and then listening. I think parents just need to listen.
Yeah. I love that. Those are such amazing questions because I did get the same thing of like, how was your day? Good. What'd you do? Nothing. But if you ask very specific
Oh, I
questions,
get so many answers. I know so much about all of my children where the parents are like, "They told you that?" I'm like, "I know everything about you." These kids talk
It's
if you
they
listen.
do. They
They
really, really
do.
do. So, I live with a 5-year-old turning 6 in August, my boyfriend's daughter, and yeah, she'll tell you all the stories about everybody, the teacher, little Thatcher, and her
Yep,
little best friend Julie, and
yep.
all the people. Her mom. I'm like, oh Lord, what are you saying about us? I have a question for you. Now, what would you say, or what would you advise a parent, guardian, whatever, knowing that their child is the bully? Um,
We get those
s-
too.
right. So
Yeah.
how do you um like what are the signs of that? Like, right? Like or
So parents know automatically. They know when their kid is a bully or the aggressive one, right? So for instance, we had a dad who was like, I have a son, he's 7 years old. He's the bully. I need to like get this in check. I'm like, oh yeah, bring him
good.
in. So for instance, that situation, he will be helping the 4-year-olds. He
Mm.
will
oh,
not be the kid who's like, look at me, look at me. Like
Mhm.
it's just a formula that I've created that really really works. And
Mm. I
everyone
love that.
works together, everyone helps each other. People call and say, "Oh, my kid is really advanced in boxing." Doesn't matter. They're going to be in the same class with beginners cuz it doesn't matter. Like awesome, cool, then he can help and then they can help and everyone helps and everyone becomes humble and great and kind and helpful.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked to Olivia about different little situations where she was a little bit more of the aggressor because she's a strong girl
Yeah.
and she has opinions and so David's actually going to put her in jiu-jitsu and
I hope Team Bully Buster, where do you live?
yeah, well, we live in Redondo Beach, but I was
Oh,
thinking
darn
about
it.
that. I know we're so far, but I'd love to visit you because yeah, he's actively taught her that and we've been watching stuff because he loves to show her, which is really great. YouTube videos of whatever he wants to teach her, whether it's riding the bike or swimming,
Yeah,
but he was showing her do YouTube jujitsu videos and
I
kind of
love
getting
it.
her like, like okay, like to see look at her. This is what she's doing. But I think it's so necessary. I think it's one of those things that especially I mean, look, men too. Look, there's men who are who aren't the strong, like know how to defend themselves type of guy. So it's just
Yeah,
like we're not trying to like exclude you. Like get yourself some help. But obviously, notoriously, women are victimized
mhm.
a lot more and by like these men who or I don't know, obviously even women.
Also,
Um
was gonna say also too, and I mean, look, not that I don't know our age range demographic. I don't know the youngest person that listens to this podcast, but I do want to make sure people understand, because I don't think children understand, teenagers, whatever, when they are the bully and they are hurting somebody, the lifelong repercussions. Because you come to school, you push somebody and whatever, it's out of your mind, you're on to the next, or you call somebody a name, or you da da da, and you don't realize that, like,
Yeah.
Amy
What
at
you just
27 is
deposited.
still like,
Yeah.
anytime somebody like waves their hand by her face
Right.
talking, she's doing this because she's
Yeah.
still traumatized, or emotionally her confidence is so low because this group of girls who don't give her
Yeah.
a thought anymore 10 years later is still impacting her life. So, like, I do want to delve into a little bit of like the emotional repercussions, like, and I don't even know how I want to, for lack of better words, like, attack this, but it's just like,
I think
I don't
it's
know.
what I have found is teaching mindfulness and empathy. And when my students, we've got over 100 students, meet me and see me, they're like, "Oh, Coach Kita's so cool. She's a pro wrestler. She's so awesome. She kicks
Yeah.
butt." Like, they just see this strong girl, even though I'm this big. And I love telling them that I wasn't always that girl, and that the one kid who's really shy and like I'm like, I was that kid. So, like, when you guys are like not trying to be friends with that kid, that's me. So always be mindful. Like, that's the kid who really needs your help, because who knows what's going to happen with them. And
Right.
I guess getting them to take off their shoes and get into the other person's shoes, even within our own little space, does so much magic. And again, leaning into being empathetic and compassionate and having that ability. And I'm teaching it because it's not something that's taught or given. It's not. And it's important to me. I am very compassionate and I am an empath. Like, I can walk in a room and if someone's sad, I am crying. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's just, I am that person. So I'm like, I got to teach it. I need them to understand why it's important. So it's not just a martial arts gym. It's the empowerment place. I want parents to know that it's beautiful to want your daughter to be in dance and gymnastics and track and volleyball and like all the amazing sports. There's so many that are amazing and that can provide a beautiful life for you going through college and into professionalism. But one thing that I wish my parents would have done with me is I was in track and gymnastics and basketball competitively my whole life. My brother was in kung fu and football. It never even crossed their mind that I would need martial arts, and I am the kid that needed it. And I want parents today to be like, my daughter's going to be in jujitsu and Muay Thai no matter what for the rest of her life. She can do dance, she can do gymnastics, she can do track, she can do whatever it is. But this is something that is not on the table.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable. It's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's just always there. You don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it every week. We can even take breaks during summer. We have families who take 3 months off, come for 6 months, 3 months off, but them little girls will wrap you up. And those little boys will put the smack down. And like, for me, that's everything. And I just want parents to be mindful. Give your kids the tools at a young age so that they're prepared. That's it. Why do we put on a seatbelt? Just in case we get in a car accident. Just in case. Why is there an airbag? Just in case. Why do we pay for insurance? Just in case. Why put your daughter in martial arts? Just in case. But it won't happen to my kid. Just in case. Because what about all those kids that it does happen to, and every parent's like, I didn't think it would happen to my kid. Well, I'm telling you, just in case. Empower them. It'll help her when she's 11 and 17 and 20 and 34. It will just be in her bones of empowerment and of advocating for myself and standing up and valuing my, like, no, like, I know what's up. And I want that sentiment to be in girls way younger than when I got it way into my 20s.
Yeah. But even as adults now listening to it, like, if you're the mom or you're just a not a non-mom, I don't know. If you're
Yeah.
a me,
You're a me.
you're never too old to start getting into some sort of form of
No,
self-defense.
not at all. But man, if you could do it sooner than later, please do it.
Yeah.
Because you could also show people, like, you know how many women that won't come take a class, but they're like, show me what to do. Like my friends, I'm like, if someone grabs you, you do this. If someone grabs you here, you do this. Like there are things that we should know, that we should be taught, but we're just not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of things can be shown, or you can watch it on, TV or whatever. But it's not the same when you're in put in the situation, or somebody physically
Getting a tutorial on
Correct.
YouTube is cool, but unless you have a body to do it with,
Correct.
it doesn't matter. And unless someone's hitting you back, like for instance, I
Mm.
see so many girls like at Box Union and Box Raw, and they
Sure.
can do 40 punch combos, and it's like, that's cool. What happens when I just sock you in the face though? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
what happens? Like, do you know how to move? Where's your head movement? Where's your footwork? You just see him going. I'm like,
Right. It's
cool,
just
it's
a
empowering.
fitness. Yeah.
But-
they're there for the.
But don't think that that's, you need another person punching you back in the face for you to know, oh, I gotta,
Mhm.
Right.
know
This
what
is how
that
I
does, like-
recalibrate when I'm off.
correct.
I love that you said that, because I have found myself in the past scrolling on Instagram, and it'll be some really awesome women that are doing Krav Maga, and it's like, if this happens, do this. If a gun is pulled out on you, you grab the right hand, you do that, and I'm like, that's cool and all, but practicing with the air, it doesn't do anything. And even just to bring in, because I do want to talk to you a little bit about your wrestling career, but even that, it's like watching two people demo stuff, and I'm like, huh? And having somebody else even do it to me. There'd be times where someone's like, yeah, you just do this and this, and all of a sudden I find myself like this, and I'm like, I don't even know how I got here. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to really practice with somebody and get it into your muscle memory. So because when you are in a high adrenaline situation, you forget everything.
It's true.
It's the equivalent of if you have stage fright and you have to give a speech or whatever, and you're like, you practice a speech like, for the last 10 days, 5 hours a day, and then you get up in front of the crowd and you're like,
yeah.
like your
Yeah.
body does the same
Yeah.
shit. Like, it's so funny because Keta, you and I were doing some practicing last Monday. We were in the ring doing something, and both of us, I was like, what's next? We're like, oh, like,
I don't even know where to go.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about like your story in terms of like wrestling, how you got into it, what you thought it was. When you were doing
So,
auditions.
yeah, I'm a pro wrestler on Wow Women of Wrestling, Wow Superheroes. We're on CBS. And I got into wrestling 11 years ago, completely by accident. I went on an audition that I thought was for that show, Heroes. It was like a sci-fi show. And then
Yes.
when I walked in and I saw all these giant girls in a ring, I was like, oh, hold on, what the heck? So I called my agent. I was like, hey, this looks weird. And it says, Wow Superheroes. He says, oh my goodness, wrong audition. Things got confused. You can just leave. That's a pro wrestling audition. You can leave. And I was like, okay, got it.
Can you put the
I'm out
mic
of
a little
here.
closer?
Yes. And so then I had my hand on the doorknob, and I was walking out, and David McLean was like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, I'm not at the right place. Bye. And he was like, well, honestly, it's Friday at 5:00. You're going to be in the same place in 1 hour. And I was like, valid point. I'll just watch then. I'll leave at 6, whatever. So I just stayed and watched. And I was inspired by Lana Starr. She's really petite, looks like a Barbie. And she came in and put the smack down. And I was like, wait a minute, how'd she do that? So that sparked my interest. I didn't grow up like addicted to wrestling or anything like that. I watched WWF with my brother, and we would like do stuff. But like my main learning was from Selena Majors and from Wow Superheroes. And it's something that is honestly playing a huge role in my mental health right now. I'm really struggling. I feel like I was one of the like loved characters, and now I'm completely in the dust, and there's so many new shiny toys. It's kind of like Toy Story, and I'm hurting. I'm really hurting on the inside. I'm sad. I feel like my value is not seen, and I'm not sure what to do. And I'm kind of like just paying attention, taking it all in, and praying, and just riding the wave. But I'm just trying to see if they still see the value that I have, and then if they don't after this season, we'll see what happens. But yeah, this too has been a very interesting journey and path that I've been on becoming a pro wrestler. And I feel like I'm the best that I have ever been in these 11 years. Like I am so good today, but I don't feel like they're giving me the platform to even showcase
Showcase face.
my skills, and it hurts. So I'm just riding this wave and seeing where it goes.
Yeah. I just want to add too, if no one has
Yeah.
actually ever seen Kita in action, she is
Thank
amazing and
you.
so fast.
Thank
Like, I
you.
mean, I guess that's how you became Kita Rush. I don't know, but
Yeah. Yes.
okay, because I saw Kita before I ever met her, right? So it's like I was doing my homework, I was studying, I was watching, and I was like, who is this person? Because she's so quick and so aerodynamic and like just does all the freaking cool tricks, you know? And it's funny because Val, you and I, okay, so we had a millionaire dinner. We went out with Jenny Kita, who's your friend,
Yeah.
and Teresa Espinoza, who's been a guest on the show. I don't know why I'm like throwing signs at you guys. I'm so sorry. But anyway, and as we were there, Jenny was like, "Hey, have you met Kita?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, she's my friend. She does, wow and whatever." And then another friend, Mikey, was like, "Oh, you'll really like her," and whatever. And so it was cool because the first night I got put into the advanced class, if you will, and it's only because my schedule didn't work with the beginners class. I
Yeah.
showed up and Kita was there, and I was like, "Oh, I'm about to look real stupid up in front of these like veterans." But you were so nice. And I'll say that like there's another wrestler named Ice Cold who was also just like so kind and nice and encouraging and welcoming. And it was never ever a feeling of I don't belong here or I'm holding everybody back because I don't know
Amen.
what they know. Like it was just really cool to have that experience. So I mean
Amen. That makes me very happy, especially because I know I'm not in a great place right now at WoW, but as long as my energy is positive and I'm helpful and I'm like doing what I can, then that's good. And thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you felt welcomed, and I'm glad you felt warm and fuzzy.
Thank you.
As you were talking, Kita,
Yeah.
obviously, like, and well, like, the thing that I'm going to, Ali Kona, is she going to be there? Are you going to be there?
I hope so. We don't
Oh,
know our
okay.
schedule yet,
Oh,
but
okay.
hopefully
So
she'll
I'll get to
be
see
having
you
a nice
live,
birthday.
hopefully.
I hope
But
so. I hope I get to see myself live.
yeah. Well, listen, it's interesting because what's so very real about everything that you've said is obviously you've shared these highs and lows of your own experiences and how giving back and how teaching and making young people and older um hopefully avoid the situations that you've been through, and then now you get this amazing platform and you're being looked up to, even by your peers, and people who are wanting to do what you're doing, but you're still finding yourself at a low. And entertainment industry in general, that's the hardest part, I feel like, about it,
Yeah.
because we're always chasing that next thing, that next job, that next premiere. And as you were saying that, it's like I can relate, and I feel like a lot of people could relate to those highs and lows, but the
Yeah.
fact that you kind of bring it all together by still giving back, even at your low, like, that's just such a testament to who you are as, like, a soul, and just as,
Amen.
like, a
Thank you.
beautiful human, because that's very hard, like, to
It is.
be at a
Thank you.
personal, like, fuck, like, I'm
Yeah.
putting it all
Dark
in,
place.
putting all
Yeah.
in, yeah, not getting it back, like, but still decide, like, but I still want to help you.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful, and I think that is your why. Like, and I don't think, obviously, that's not the end of your story, clearly, but
But I have
um
found power in that, and that does
mm.
feel good to me. So at least when I leave, I'm not so depleted because I was able to help. And
And this is off
yeah, thank
topic. Do
you.
you write?
I do.
I think you need to write
I
you need
I
to
have
write
been
your movie,
journaling my
bitch.
ass off since I was a kid, but I just wrote my first feature. I wrote a screenplay, and it's
Mm.
fucking amazing. And
Yeah, there
when
you
that
go.
chapter is done, I know, what my next
Yeah.
venture is, and I'm gonna put it all into that, and I'm gonna win an Oscar, mark my words.
Yep, get it.
That's immediately where my head was going. I was just like, and I have been told by like people who are clairvoyant that I have like those kind of if I tap in, like I have that. And as soon as you were saying that, I was like, she needs it's a movie. Like she needs to put this on film. Like this is the next thing. Um yeah. So I'm excited for you because I was like,
Thank you. I'm
let me
excited for me. It's been an amazing life, and I've had so many amazing opportunities and so many experiences, and good ones,
Mhm.
bad ones, but all full circle. They've all led me to who I am today and the woman that I am today. And I'm so grateful because I look in the mirror today and I'm like, I love you. And
Yes.
I remember not loving me, and I love me
Mm,
even on my bad days. I'm like, I love you. Like I get it. And I can relate to myself. It's so interesting. I
mm.
see me
Outside looking in.
outside. Yeah. And I'm like, you're doing good. God's good. You're good. He's proud of
Yeah.
you. Keep going. And so I just
Yes.
keep going. I just keep going.
I
Yes.
love that so much. Like you guys are probably not looking at me, but I'm like doing the thing because I was like, I love that so much. Just because that was a topic like Val and I recently talked about on the podcast. It hasn't aired yet, but we were talking about the difference between self love and self care because
Mhm.
oftentimes we confuse going to get a massage with self love when it's the
Correct.
thing that you are just now talking about, Kita. And I think that's so amazing because so many people have endured trauma and tragedies in their life, and it's very hard to come back from
It
that.
is.
And
Yes.
for you to have experienced something that is so extreme in my book, because I've had my own traumas, but I can be like, well, what the fuck am I complaining about? Like, I didn't have
Yeah.
to deal with,
Yeah.
X, Y, and Z. So it's
Yeah.
like really just so cool to hear you say those things. And I can hear the genuineness in your voice as you say those things. So I really, really hope that anybody that is listening to this, if they have any ounce of like not love for themselves, they can hear this and your story and be like, okay, like I want to be like her and I want to love myself like that too.
Yeah, it's a good
Mhm.
place. It's a good place, and it's somewhere I don't want to leave. I like it here. I like where I'm
Yeah.
at. Even with
Good. And
the bad that's there.
of course, I also wanted to say that
Yeah.
if anybody's listening, and kind of because of what you just said, Alikona, um, don't compare your own trauma to anybody else's too. You know, like uh, your trauma and your past stuff is all still valid, right? So you don't
Mhm.
have to have had some like crazy traumatic experience
Right.
to feel like I need to get help, or well, it wasn't as bad as this person, so it's okay. You know, like feel your feelings. Like if you're feeling bullied or attacked or whatever, like tap into that and seek help, because don't let it get to this extreme or somebody else's extreme.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure I said that out loud. And check out I mean, so how about like if people aren't in Studio City, California,
Yeah.
is there do you offer online coaching? Do you like how
No.
no? Okay.
No. Um it's too hard.
Cuz it's so physical, right? Right.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
yeah.
Only during
Um
2020 COVID days.
geez, right. Um well, I I'm super inspired. I can't wait to see well both of y'all in action, but of course, you Kita for sharing everything that you've shared. And I'm always just inspired by badass women in general.
Same.
So I appreciate you sharing your story and just putting the energy that you are out there and still being that light when you're in the dark. Again, like I said it to you earlier, like that's hard as shit. So
It is.
thank
And
you.
thank you. Thank you for recognizing it. Real recognizing.
Hmm. That's right.
So towards the end of our podcast,
Yeah.
Kia's gonna be like, bitch, you didn't tell me about this
Okay,
either.
what now what game are we playing?
It didn't occur to me
Now you
at the time of
dance.
talking to you. But at the end of the podcast, so Val and I like to end things on
Mm.
an up note, and we do something called "What If," but the best possible outcome. So a lot of times people will what if the worst situation possible, like throughout their
Mhm.
day. Like, oh my
Mhm.
God, what if I trip and fall in front of this
Yeah.
guy? Like he's so cute. What if I do this and I get fired? Or what if I do this? And it's like all this worry, but instead it's like, well, what if and
Mm.
whatever the best outcome could be. So
Yeah.
if there's anything, and we'll let you go last, but if there's anything that's been on your mind this week, how can you what if it to the best that it could be? So,
Ooh.
Val, do
What
you want me to go
if?
first? Or do you want
Yeah,
to go
you go
first?
Oh, I
first.
have it.
I
It's
have.
You go
on my
first
tongue.
then.
It's on my tongue.
Oh, okay, you go.
Oh.
You go, Keta. You go.
What if I have 10 wow matches and I succeed and kill all of them?
Yes.
Boom.
Hey.
Keta
I love
Rush
it.
in the house because she was given that
Yes.
platform.
I'm gonna piggyback off the wow thing. I'm like, what if? Because I am. I mean, I guess I'm not really like allowed to say. I don't know, but clearly, I'm not the good guy. I'm the opposite of that. But what if simply because my character is what it is, it inspires somebody out there? I don't think it's any secret. Like everybody knows I'm vegan and I have been vying to be a character that's vegan this whole journey. I'm like, if anything's going to come out of this, I want to at least publicly like tell people that you can be strong
Yeah.
and buff and like kick ass and not like be protein and like iron deficient, you know? And so I really did go into this thinking I was going to be this like inspiring hero. And it's ironic that people are like, oh, you should totally be like, you're a bad guy. And I'm like, oh,
You're like,
because I'm
vegetable.
vegan, I'm an extremist bad guy. But you know what? I'm going to lean into it. So what if I lean into it so hard that I have people like Veg News Magazine posting on IG like
Yes.
ever vegan wrestler. And you better believe I'm going
Yes.
to find out.
You're
Right?
the
I'm going to
new
find out.
face of Vega Protein. What are you talking about?
Right.
You're in the and the top is orange.
Right? I
Yes,
would totally do
marketing.
that. And don't play like I will find a way to contact Variety Magazine and Hollywood Report and be like, this is newsworthy. I'm like the first ever. Okay. First, you need to publish an article about
I
me.
love it.
Speak
I
on it.
love it.
All right. I was at a loss, but I'm gonna just kind of stay in this this energy just because I didn't know where to go. So what if Kita, you write this amazing script and you cast some badass ladies, Alicona and Valerie Ortiz and yourself, and we get to be in this dope ass film about your life or whatever it is. I don't know what this movie is, and it does go to the Academy Awards and it does win awards. And we get to look back at this episode and be like, damn, we planted a seed back then. Look at us now. Boom.
I just want to say I'm going to cover that with the blood of Jesus and lock that into everything because we are going to be on the stage and you two are going to be in the movie. If you want to be in the movie, you
I
can be in the
listen.
movie.
I'll be
Mike,
the
the mic, Keita, the
Puerto
mic,
Rican-
the mic.
Hurry,
Is-
you going to be in the movie.
Is there a Puerto Rican wrestler somewhere?
There is a Puerto Rican girl who takes classes in the movie, and that her name is Valerie Ortiz. And there's another girl, her name is Alicona, and she just auditioned and she got the role for the other girl. So yes, y'all are in it. That's another thing. I have so many friends who like are directors and producers and agents and all whatever, and like really none of them have done anything for me. Like we're friends.
Now
And people not on your show, and I'm still not on, and I don't want to be that. Like if I have a movie, my motherfucking people are in my shit. There is no, oh, you can come audition. Like what? Nah,
It's gonna happen.
I got my people.
Amen. Amen.
What if? Well, thank you so much.
You're
I'm so
very
excited to
welcome. Thank you
watch
for having
live and
me.
in person. And yeah, I'm super inspired. And
Thank you.
plug the organization. Do you have an Instagram? All the stuff.
Yeah.
Tell our people.
Instagram is Keta the Pretty Flower is my handle, and then my business is Team Bully Buster. So the Pretty Flower, Keta Rush, or Team Bully Buster.
And Team Bully Buster does have a website, so check it out. There's also more information on
TeamBullyBuster.org.
Keta.
Yep.
Huh?
TeamBullyBuster.org.
There you go. Anyways, but thank you guys so much. I had so much fun. Keta, thank you for taking the time out to come and chat with us. I mean, everything that Val said, but my exclamation point on top. So
Thank you. Thank
All right,
you guys.
till next time, y'all. Adios.
Okay.
bye, guys.
Bye.
We love you.
Mwah.